So the Panasonic LX100 was one of the most popular compact cameras for street and travel photographers. This was due to its film-like manual controls and super fast lens. It amassed what seemed to be a cult following over the last 3 years, and today with great excitement, we have the brand new LX100 Mark II, and we're going to take it out for a spin. You hear that? Because I didn't. The shutter is basically non-apparent. Actually, that's dumb because it's a compact camera, they're always silent. So I'm just going to walk over my first impressions on the LX100 Mark II. So firstly, like the previous LX100, build quality is amazing. It's predominantly metal and it's got a lot of rubberized areas as well, such as the grip, as well as the thumb grip at the back, so you can get a nice solid hold on it when you're using it. Just like the Fuji cameras, the Panasonic LX100 has the same aperture and shutter dials. So you've got your aperture on the lens and your shutter speed up top. And then if you're in aperture priority, there's an exposure compensation dial at the top as well that you can adjust as well. In terms of the actual back of the camera, you've got a really nice, big and bright electronic viewfinder, which sits really far out from the camera. So if you're putting your eye up against the EVF, your nose doesn't actually squish up against the screen. So that is really good, and I wish a lot more compact cameras did it, because most compact cameras that I use, my nose is literally 90% of the time on the screen and I'm breathing everywhere onto it. Speaking of the screen at the back, it's got a nice big 3-inch touch tilt screen which can be used for autofocus, autofocusing when you're using the eye sensor, as well as review and playback as well. In terms of the customization you can do, there are 5 custom buttons on this camera and you can customize them to do anything you want, and I think that's ridiculous that there's that many on a camera like this. On the side, you've got a HDMI port and a USB charging port, which can also be used for data transfer. The only thing I have with the LX100, which I wish they added, was a microphone port to the camera, because it does amazing video. It can do 4K up to 30 frames, can do Full HD up to 60 frames, but you can't benefit from getting good external audio, which is a bit questionable. At the bottom, it uses a BLG10E battery with 1 SD card slot, and overall, it's a nice solid weight and it feels really good. So if you're going to travel with this camera, I highly recommend it. Come back. The autofocus on this thing is actually incredible. It is so quick. Compared to the previous LX100, it's definitely an improvement. And it's got the same DFD technology that they do in their higher end Panasonic cameras. So this thing is quick. It's not only silent, but it is extremely rapid. And the cool thing as well is, if you're using the eye sensor and you want to reposition a focus point, normally what you would do is you get your autofocus joystick and you can toggle it. But because this has touch AF and touchpad AF, you can literally just use your finger and recompose your focus point. And it's so efficient. The EVF is amazing. It is so crystal clear looking through this, especially for a compact camera. I honestly think this is like one of the best EVFs I've used in a camera of this size. It is fantastic. It's super bright. And this is coming from a person that's so used to testing like 3 million dot EVFs on like mirrorless cameras. This is pretty damn good. Never give me an AF joystick again. I'm gonna test the video. So we're gonna give the 11 frame per second burst a go, and we're gonna get Josh to run through this group of pigeons. Alright, I'm ready when you are, my dude. DFD autofocus, baby! I am ready. So right now, I'm just testing the bokeh on the photos, and it is amazing. Like, I'm shooting these shots at f2.8 at what is equivalent to 75mm, and I'm getting some awesome shots. Like, that micro four thirds sensor that's in this is brilliant. All my photos look amazing. One, they're tack sharp, but the bokeh, I don't think you can get this kind of bokeh in any other compact camera. It just looks really, really solid and nice. And the best thing about it as well, if you're going to be shooting stuff like this, it's got a 3cm macro mode, so you can get nice and close and shoot some sick shots at f1.7, which is ridiculous. I wish you had a tilt screen so you could be what I would think is the perfect compact camera. Oh, do you know what I just discovered this camera had? Remember when we did that video on the GX85 and how I was raving about that Monochrome D filter? It's got the Monochrome D filter. Yeah, boy. So now I'm just going to go over the key features on the Panasonic Lumix LX100 II. So first thing you need to know, it's got a huge micro four thirds 20 megapixel sensor on the inside, and depending on the multi-aspect ratio format that you shoot, it can get up to a 17 megapixel photo with no low pass filter. It's got an extended range ISO sensitivity of 100 to 25,600. It can shoot continuously up to 11 frames per second burst speed. In terms of the video size of things, it can do 4K video up to 30 frames per second and Full HD up to 60 frames per second. In the 4K video mode, you can do 4K capture, which means that if you're recording a video, you can just hit the shutter button and it will take a capture for you. In terms of the actual autofocus system, it's got a 49-point fast autofocus depth from defocus system, which means that it's going to be super fast and accurate. In terms of its wireless capabilities, it has Bluetooth, so you can safely connect it to your phone and transfer photos seamlessly. And like the previous LX100, it's got a 28 to 75mm zoom lens with a variable aperture of f1.7 to f2.8 with 11 elements that is grouped into 8. Lastly, at the back of the camera, you have a nice and large 2.7K dot electronic viewfinder with 100% color reproduction and field of view. And to back that up, it's got a 3-inch touchscreen as well. Like the LX100 Mark I, the lens is brilliant. That variable aperture control gives you so much control over depth of field. And the best thing about it is, with a lot of compact cameras that normally have fast apertures like this, they don't really stop down that much. This can stop down to f16, which gives you so much flexibility. Not only does it open up to 1.7 and at 75 2.8, but you can also stop it down a lot as well, which is absolutely fantastic. The actual dials on it, the fact that you have an aspect ratio switch, and the switch for the autofocus and switching it to manual focus is brilliant. Feels really tactile. It's fantastic. The only thing I really want to kind of touch on is that the zooming speed when you're using the toggle is really slow. Great for video if you're going to be doing that kind of like wide to portrait kind of slow zooming look, but if you are a street photographer and you really need your camera to go to that high end of the lens spectrum, it goes really slow, so just compensate that when you are taking out to shoot. Battery life is actually okay, like there's nothing too bad about it. Panasonic claim up to 4 to 450 shots. Personally, I did a lot of burst shooting when Josh was running through the pigeons. I've clocked at about 200 at the moment, and the battery life is pretty decent. So today's sample images were shot on a pre-production version of the Panasonic Lumix LX100 Mark II, so the results may not be final. The images that do come out of this camera is brilliant. Let's talk about the bokeh for one. For a compact camera, this has some fantastic results. It deals pretty well with noise, up to 1600 ISO, and optically overall, the lens does well to control distortion and aberrations. Colors, detail, and overall corner sharpness is solid. 4K video isn't too bad either, and Full HD as well. We would like it to have better audio flexibility since it doesn't have a microphone port, but overall, this is a big step up from the previous LX100, which itself was already a brilliant compact camera. So my final thoughts on the Panasonic LX100 Mark II. Panasonic have done a fantastic job. They've taken everything that we loved about the LX100 and basically put it on steroids on the Mark II. The only thing to be mindful of is the price tag on this will definitely not be for everyone, as it is looking to be around the 1,000 to 1,500 Australian dollar mark. However, if you are a street or travel photographer that's looking for a camera that does really good landscapes, really good portraits, has great low light capabilities, as well as just overall optical sharpness and bokeh goodness, then the LX100 Mark II is the camera for you. If you are a vlogger or looking to do some higher end video stuff, then maybe consider the other options from Panasonic. If you have any questions on the LX100 Mark II, make sure to pop them in the comments below. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our blog for full written reviews, as well as to know what's going on in store. And finally, if you liked our video, hit the like button and the subscribe button so you don't miss out on our next update, as we upload videos every Tuesday and Thursday. So my final thoughts on the LX100 Mark II. Panic!